Jay Dellarosa asks a question, which I'm excited to answer. They say, you talk a lot about your curiosity in crafts outside of your own. As a tattooer, I would love to know if you have any takeaways from your tattoo experience. Was there anything you found particularly interesting or inspiring about the craft, tools, environment, etc.? I found everything about getting a tattoo exciting. I found it novel. I found the creative exchange between tattoo artist and tattoo subject. What do you call them? Customer. I found that relationship to be fascinating. My tattoo artist is Lars from Mars. She's Lars F.R. Mars with a Z, Larz F.R. M.A.R.Z on Instagram. And I sat down with Lars in January of 2019. Yeah, it was before I filmed Savage Builds. And so the first thing that surprised me about a tattoo was that tattoos seem to happen on island time. If you've ever gone to the Bahamas or the Caribbean, Virgin Islands, you'll know what I mean by island time. Any tropical area where people take their time, you call it island time. Where people are not in a rush. That's island time. It's just not in a rush. And capitalism has us all in a fevered rush. So when you encounter someone not in a rush, it's interesting. So I sat down with Lars. My son, Thing 2, was with me. He has lots of tattoos. And so he was just 20 back then and sort of my consigliere. And also Ryan Kaiser, our former tested employee Ryan Kaiser, who's also got a crap ton of tattoos. He introduced me to Lars. So we go to the studio where Lars is working. And what I mean by island time is we sat there for like 2 hours before the tattoo even started. And there wasn't like okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to It was more just like we started shooting the breeze and talking about stuff. And we sort of organically got to know each other. And I really appreciated that. I thought that was, later on, I thought through it and I thought, okay, I really understand. You're doing a design that's on someone's body, being in sync with them in whatever measure can be reached within the confines of a tattoo appointment, I get is probably really paramount that you vibe, right? I mean, I'm sure you can do your business and execute your business without the vibe, but I'm sure that it's better when the vibe is there. We're doing good, okay? Okay, cool. So I loved the pace. It took about 4 or 5 hours for me to get this done. I really liked the process. Lars and I first talked for a long time before we started making sketches. I made some sketches. They made some sketches. And then we did some prints that we put on me to see how I liked placement. I was surprised both how much it hurt and how much it didn't. It is a tiny needle going in your skin. I'm very clear about what's happening. And I was surprised that looking at it hurt less than not looking at it for me. That was peculiar. The last thing that I thought was really interesting is I was talking to Lars about, so while we were there, my son, Thing 2, saw a piece of flash that he liked, a candle, a lighter, a hand lighting a lighter, like a thumb lighting a lighter, and he had it. He stayed after I left and had that tattoo put here. Whoo, boy, I'll bet that stung. But because he was like choosing a piece of flash, I started to get interested in the subject of why people get tattoos, right? Like, some people choosing flash, it's just like they're collecting, right? I mean, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other modalities for reasons for getting tattoos. The one that I was interested in was, I said, I can't remember in response to what question, but Lars said to me that catharsis was a fantastic reason to get a tattoo. And I would have thought the opposite was true. I would have thought that in a cathartic moment, to get a tattoo would be an easy place for potential regret. But no, not at all. According to Lars and other folks that I've met, it's a marvelous way to mark a cathartic moment in time. And I found myself surprised and delighted by that. I still want a second tattoo. I'm still clear that I want, like, my dog Huxley's name and my kids' names somewhere. That seems important to me. Recently, I was at the Met. We were filming at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and we were looking at basically a 15th century armor catalog. Yeah. And there were some little graphics in this catalog I took a ton of pictures of because I thought they would make some great little tattoos. Look, I think tattoos are very different today than they were when I was a young kid, right? They were transgressive. They were a symbol of absolute counterculture when I was young in the 70s. And they are so regular now. And yet, despite their ubiquity within culture, I still find a really, really loving egalitarianism among tattoo artists and those who are super heavily tattooed in general. I've done a couple of cons in Kansas City, which it seems like everyone in Kansas City has tats. Those are all of my thoughts on tattoos. Thank you, Jay Dellarosa. And then Ozymandias, the bassist. This is interesting. This is like a shower thought. What is it like to have people be able to reference your earlier work, both on this channel and over years of television, and ask questions, make comparisons? It's sort of remarkable. I had to say, for my repository of my brain memory, it's really spectacular and phenomenal. Because what no one told me about getting older is that the memory cells in your brain just fill. And I now have to watch old tested videos to figure out how I built something, because the full roster of that build is no longer in my head. I no longer store every detail of every build. Not by choice, but this just no longer does it. I don't watch all the videos that we put out. I watch a fair portion of them. And sometimes I go back, someone will tell me about one, I'll go back and watch it. And I was watching one the other day and I was like, I don't remember any of this. I mean, I remember having built this. I remember being in the shop building it, but I don't remember the decisions I made. And I was watching and being like, I wonder what I'm gonna do. Actually, if I was here today, I would probably do this. And then I did that. I was like, oh, that's so cool. But seriously, I cannot remember the actual act. I'm going to go and give a more serious answer to your question, because to have been part of a machine and an entity like Mythbusters, to have played a role in its cultural impact, to have enjoyed the spoils of what that brought to me and my co-hosts in terms of opportunities and experiences and friendships and knowledge, to still be getting questions about stuff that I was doing not just 22 years ago when I started Mythbusters, but 35 years ago when I started working in commercial special effects and theater. It's delightful. It feels like a real grace. So that's what it's like. Thank you for watching. I wanted to talk to you about Tested membership. The Tested members are a key community that we find really, really remarkable. That's very separate from Tested and from YouTube. The Tested members, they buy each other memberships during our live streams. So if you're wondering whether to become a member, watch one of our live streams and someone may just give you one. It is hard to overestimate how much the Tested members actually make possible on this channel. They give us a lot of wiggle room. They give us a huge amount of feedback.
That's a member right now.
Thank you so much for enjoying your membership. For everything you need to know. And for all the members out there, thank you, thank you, thank you.